That UG is called a Raptor. I hear they are typically deployed in groups. Concentrate too much on one, and you leave yourself open to attack from the others. You need to keep situational awareness at all times against them, Raiden.
Hey, Kev. You have anything on that sword Sam was using? Didn't seem like your garden variety high-frequency blade.
It's not. It's a samurai sword. The real deal. 16th century make. Handed down in his family ever since. Sam had it recast as a high-frequency blade. Doesn't say by who.
Is this something I need to worry about?
Maybe. You know the basics of sword making, right? The harder the metal, the better it cuts, but also the more brittle it is. So a sword's gotta be sturdy, but also just pliable enough to absorb shock without breaking. Walking that line, striking that balance, that's what makes sword crafting an art. Japanese swords fuse different types of iron, each with different amounts of carbon. Different levels of flexibility, in other words. So the blade can be tough and razor sharp.
And that gets multiplied when the sword gets the HF treatment?
Yeah. Basically, the high-frequency upgrade sets the blade vibrating really, really fast, right? That vibration acts on the electron shells of atoms in the sword and the local electromagnetic field. When the EMF achieves resonance, the blade's bonding is strengthened. At a quantum level, it's like the entire sword is made up of the exact same particle type. It also disrupts any atoms it comes into contact with. Say, those that make up the target. Their electron clouds shrink from exposure to quantum decoherence at the Planck scale. In other words, it electrically severs the bonds that keep the target's atoms together.
You lost me around the EMF part.
And that's the dumbed-down explanation. To be honest, even I don't understand all the details. Point is, an HF upgrade is like an amplifier. It multiplies what's already there. So Sam's badass blade might give him the edge. I mean, you know what I mean.
The original sword was really that good?
Sounds like it. Says here it's a Murasama blade.
Murasama. Sounds familiar.
One of the top 10 best-known sword makers worldwide. Easy. In Japan, he is legendary. They say his swords thirst for blood. That they choose who will wield them. You know, that sort of thing.
Ooh, now I really am scared.
I know, right?
Ah, the Raptor, yeah? A UG designed to operate in groups. Their AI is such that they are aware of and commiserate with their peers. If a Raptor they identify as one of their own goes offline, they respond with a sort of primitive anger.
Like a wild animal might respond in the natural world.
Indeed. In typical UG optical neuro AIs, the section corresponding to the cerebral neocortex is, well, it's quite a bit smaller than a human brain's. They truly are closer to beast than man. You will need to do some damage to a raptor before you can cut them to shreds. And you will want to make sure the situation is ideal before you do strike the final blow on any one of them.
Your only option is to fight.
¿Estás bien?
What you say?
Oh.
Me a Guyanese, from Guyana. You speak English?
Yeah, I'm from America. Call me Raiden.
Me name George, like Georgetown.
George.
And just like all damn America president.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
Me? What the rest of you do here? You lose the map of Ninja Hideout, Ninja Man?
No, I'm looking for bad guys.
Ah, damn Skunter research lab.
You know about it?
Me know me now go back. Hey, you're not one of them skunt, nah? Nah, I guess you're alright. If you're a cyborg, you know who they is?
Sort of. What happened to you?
Oh, maybe live on the street, rake and scrape for a bob, nah? Then this good need dressed like the mafia say, hey boy, you want a job? What the worst gonna happen, nah? But that mother scunt don't put me on a ras boat. They pack us all a big old dirty container. Next thing we know, we're here at that zombie lab.
All kids? Like you?
Yeah, a lot of boy. But then me been over here what them scunt wanna do. Snuff us out. And got all the organ.
So you ran?
Uh-huh. Is she me not a bad-ass robot ninja man, same as you? Ha! Me been strongest cyborg ever. Warlock all them phantoms in black clothes that eye pass me.
Starting to sound like a bad guy yourself.
Just playing, nah? Me done plenty bad thing. But me not kill no man. Nah, never.
Good.
We tried to warn the boy. I say, IOD's brain gonna get cut out. Run your ass out of there. But them boy with me no understand. They like Spanish or something. So me the only one for escape. Then that machine come after me and...
And I know the rest. George, I need every detail about how you escaped.
Oh.
So the kid got into the sewers through a drainage channel?
Yeah, he says the channel is super tight, but there's some kind of shutter next to it.
Got it. That must be where they dumped the waste.
There's something else. It sounds like a Desperado exec was on site yesterday. If a Sentry Cyborg was on hand for the meeting...
You should be able to review their video log, provided you can find the server access terminal. That would give us the evidence we need, as well as a little peek at the level of their technology.
So what about the kid?
I made sure the area was secure and told him to sit tight. Can you pick him up?
Sure. I'll send a couple agents for him. You just focus on getting into that lab. If what he said is true about the organs, we need to hurry.
Agreed. Riding out. Boris, we've got kids being held inside this lab. I'm getting them out of there.
Copy that. I will discuss with NGO what to do with them afterward.
What are you thinking?
Well, this is difficult. I imagine these are homeless children, taken from streets. Likely they have no home to return to. But we cannot dump them back on streets. We could look for adoptions in US, but some of these kids may be criminals. Could be drug addicts, HIV positive. Not so easy to find homes.
Yeah, wasn't easy for me either. The guys at the relief center were always worried I'd cause problems for my foster family.
The alternative is putting them in an institution until they grow up. But this has issues as well. Most are already past capacity. Taking on this many street kids at one time would be impossible. Also, it's a matter of fairness. Is it fair to take in these kids here when millions more are dying? I imagine this is why rescue was not part of our contracted mission. The human rights NGOs, they know they can't rescue them all. They must take a wide view and confront the problem of traffickers, not their victims.
But we can't just sit here and let them pull kids to pieces.
Duh. On this, we agree. For now, rescue the children. We'll worry about the fallout later.
Copy that.
Raiden, I said earlier this is an infiltration mission. But if it comes to combat when rescuing the children, so be it. If enemy cyborgs attack, you are free to respond with all available force.
I figured.
Attacking first, that would be a gray area, legally speaking. But I doubt anyone would take us to court over it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Just keep your hands off all non-combatants. That would violate international law, not to mention morals of company.
I hear you. That kid said he's from Guyana. That's on the Caribbean side of South America, right? Know anything about it?
A little, though I'm more of an expert on Africa than the Americas. To be exact, Guyana's sandwiched between Venezuela and Suriname, with Brazil on its southern border. Of course, the Venezuelan border is sheer rainforest. There aren't even any roads through it. You have to cross the Guyana Shield to get to Brazil, too.
So it's pretty isolated from the rest of the continent.
Most inland connections run through Suriname, opposite of Venezuela. Beyond Suriname is French Guyana. The three countries are referred to as the Guyanas, and the entire region's got its own unique culture sphere.
The Guyanas? I've heard the name, but I don't really know it at all.
Same here. I do know the region's a lot smaller than Brazil, or even Venezuela for that matter. As you know, most South American countries have Spanish as their official language. Brazil uses Portuguese. Guyana, though, uses English. Suriname uses Dutch, and French Guyana uses French, naturally.
A kind of divide-and-conquer approach to colonialism, huh?
Yeah. They're all independent now except French Guyana, though. Sort of like what you see in Africa. I did some research after you met George. Culturally, at least, Guyana's more Caribbean than South American.
Yeah? He looked a little Asian to me.
There's a lot of immigrants from India living there. They were both British colonies, after all. It's a lot more influence from the UK than India, though. I mean, look at George's name, after all.
An English-speaking South American of Indian background.
Everything good over there, Raiden? You, don't seem like you're in much of a hurry.
Give me some time. I've got a lot of intel to gather. Speaking of which, I'd better get going. Raiden out. Those brains are from the street kids they picked up in Central and South America, right? Abducted by traffickers and sold to Desperado.
Right. And now it looks like they're selling off their organs.
That part of the world's full of homeless kids.
True. Though really just about every nation's full of them. Except the richest ones, that is. You see a lot of them across the African and Asian continents, too. Estimates put the worldwide number of homeless children at anywhere from tens to hundreds of millions.
Kind of a broad range. I guess it's hard to do solid research in the kinds of places where you'd find them.
True enough. The way the Human Rights NGO put it, though, it's hard to define what a street child is. There's lots of different types. Some are on the street because they ran away from home, but really they can return any time. Some work on the street but go home at night. And some kids literally live on the street with no family.
Go home at night? Those kids still count as street children?
Well, the point is that there's no set definition. Everyone involved has their own take on the issue. Without a clear definition, estimates inevitably end up all over the map.
Makes sense.
If you're going to talk about street kids, though, I think you need to differentiate. There are the kids who live on the street and the ones that just work it. Little things can make a huge difference if you've got a home and a family to fall back on, even if you're just running a fruit stand or shoe shine operation. Kind of presumptuous for me to say which is better, I guess, but you can't just ignore that aspect.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine how helpless you feel when you've got no one to fall back on.
Yeah. Opinions similarly divided on the child labor issue, too. Some say all underage labor should be banned. Others think the decision should be left up to the family. I mean, sure, kids shouldn't be exploited or pressed into military service. If nothing else, the right to an education's got to be protected. But should a kid be banned from helping out at his dad's store? What if a family's so desperate that it would starve without the money their children bring in?
Yeah, it's definitely not cut and dry.
I can't believe what they're doing in there. Guess I shouldn't be so surprised, huh?
Guess not.
Are you gonna help them?
No other choice.
I'll try to help look for someplace that might take them in.
Thanks.
Least I can do. Did you want to save your data? Alright. Raiden. Good luck out there.
Very well done, Raiden.
Oh, thanks, I guess.
That raptor may have been smaller than an Irving, but its potential is simply remarkable. defeating it is a fine demonstration of your body's abilities. I'm quite happy to see it working so well.
Well, thanks, Doc. I'm quite happy I'm not dead, too.
How did it feel to fight it?
Well, an Irving has more strength and firepower. But this guy was a lot harder to keep a beat on. Not that big of a deal, but you definitely don't want to let your guard down around one.
Indeed. A combination Irving and tripod force would be a formidable foe in any urban warfare scenario. The only problem is cost. A PMC would have to be well funded indeed to even think about acquiring the necessary numbers to make it work. There are situations where an Irving may be overkill, but tripods cannot provide the necessary force.
So the Raptor was built to fill that gap?
Indeed. Its basic design is a streamlined, more compact version of the Irving. Furthermore, it uses the same control system as the tripods, which helps keep costs low. It can use standard personnel weaponry as is, and its armor has been componentized. This is to say, the user can expand its defensive capability as needed. It's fit for standard military operations, anti-terror missions, even regular patrol and police duty. A most admirable jack of all trades. Adorable too, wouldn't you say?
Not the first word that comes to mind.
Ah yes, my apologies. I can't help but marvel at a well-made machine when I see one. There's no need to be jealous, though. Your body is still quite impressive as well.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt, huh? How human of you.
I contest that statement. Many humans possess little or no sense of obligation at all. And many are entirely willing to trample their fellow man for personal gain.
I know. But is that it? I mean, you're willing to follow me, put yourself at risk just because of that? What do you think of what I'm doing here, for example?
A delicate question. I do find it difficult to rationalize your mission to rescue the children. If you wish to save children in need, there are hundreds of millions of others equally in need.
Thanks for the support.
However, we must still uncover the full extent of Desperado's activities. And as such, it is meaningless to debate best practices without sufficient information.
All right then. No more questions, Your Honor.
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. You're under attack! Keep on coming! Good, Raiden, very good!
Raiden, I have determined the approximate location of the lab based on the boy's information. It is marked on your Soliton radar.
Where the hell did Desperado get all these cyborgs anyway, Kev?
Hard to say. They're not as rare as they once were, but still. Of all registered PMC troops, we're still talking, what, 3% have enhancements? Maybe 5% tops. Mostly career military who got hurt on the battlefield one way or another. Getting their arms or legs back lets them keep earning a living. But most able-bodied soldiers are still reluctant to sacrifice their own healthy body parts. Plus, the surgery is highly specialized. Expensive as hell. Not to mention maintenance costs after that. Unless insurance is footing the bill, most guys couldn't afford enhancements even if they wanted to.
Maverick's got some cyborgs. What's their story? They all wounded in action?
Mostly. I heard a few saved up and paid for it themselves, but just a few. There is this one crazy blonde guy, though. I heard he asked for a full body conversion.
The Patriots didn't leave me much of a body to begin with. I just had Herr Doctor finish what they started.
You know I'm just giving you shit, man. Anyway, yeah. Looking at the numbers, cyborg soldiers are still a pretty small minority. Not really surprising when only contractors in developed countries are offered insurance. Third world soldiers get hurt out on the field, and that's all she wrote. They can't work as a merc anymore. Most times, they can't really work at all.
Well, Desperado's up to something, because cyborgs are definitely not in the minority here.
I've heard of some PMCs covering the cost of the surgery for their disabled. The mercs get their career back, sure, but the PMCs aren't exactly running a charity. These guys have to work to pay it off until the company at least breaks even on them. Any cyborg breaks his contract early would probably be in debt for the rest of his life.
You think that's Desperado's M.O.?
I can't prove it, but sure as hell wouldn't surprise me.
So what kind of deal does Maverick offer its contractors?
Oh yeah, I forgot you're full-time too. You never contracted with us?
Nope. Boris invited me on board the first time we talked about it. We've known each other since Area 51. Didn't have any reason to turn him down, so, yeah. Never really considered the contract route.
Right. Well, it's actually pretty rare for guys on the ground like you to be full-timers. Most of Maverick's soldiers are contractors, just like with any other PMC. It just makes sense. After all, it's never the same job twice in this business. Each mission has its own requirements. Force size, skill set, all that crap. So generally, we contract out on a per-mission basis, or a fixed schedule for longer jobs. A lot of US companies are doing it that way lately, not just PMCs. Besides, a good contractor can earn more than most regular full-time employees. Definitely a hell of a lot more than regular military.
And if they want to quit, can they get out of their contract?
Yep. Of course, just up and quitting right in the middle of a mission would cause problems. Just like any other job, you know? We'd want some notice to settle on a new end date, but hold up. You're not thinking of leaving us, are you?
Just curious.
By the way, I didn't know you spoke Spanish.
I've got the US Army to thank for that. I was in a group called Foxhound, although it doesn't exist on paper. We were isolated from the other soldiers. Day after day of VR training.
I heard about that.
It's not like it was all VR, though. Special Forces guys need advanced physical and communication skills. I had to do all the basic training and language schoolwork, too. We even trained in the Afghan village set up at Fort Polk.
The Afghan village?
They built a mock urban area on a base in Louisiana for training purposes. It was a hell of a lot more realistic than the VR training we had back then. Nothing compared to cyborg training, though. Having it jacked right in like that.
They say it's so realistic now you can feel your blade cutting through flesh.
How is Wolf faring?
Hard to say just yet. Seems like he's doing okay.
Good. I'm so pleased my repairs were effective.
He seems happy enough, but I don't know. Can a machine really be happy? Maybe he's just being directed by his programming to behave that way.
And what is wrong with that? If something you do for someone else is appreciated, it makes you happy. It's a perfectly normal reaction, one that applies whether you're man or machine, and whether or not you have intelligence.
I guess so.
When you watch a film, does it not make you happy when good things happen to the heroes in the end?
I'm not seeing the connection.
Well, those heroes are not really happy. They're just following a script written by someone else. The actors have human intelligence, but the characters themselves do not. It is a facade, an imitation, and yet we still feel an emotional connection. It does not matter that it is make-believe. Now, I certainly don't know whether the AI you encountered in the past was neural or not. But Wolf most certainly is. And with a neuro AI, it is not so simple as working off a set computer program. You can define intelligence however you like, but personally I see no reason not to say Wolf has it. It possesses a neuro AI structurally similar to the human brain. It has learned enough of the world around it to be capable of human speech. Truly an astounding artificial intelligence is at work here. One I suspect could make for substantial business opportunities given the chance. Think of the possibilities, Raiden. What do you think a truly intelligent AI could do for the world?
I'll let you know if I think of anything. Raiden out. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt, huh? How human of you.
I contest that statement. Many humans possess little or no sense of obligation at all. And many are entirely willing to trample their fellow man for personal gain.
I know. But is that it? I mean, you're willing to follow me, put yourself at risk, just because of that? What do you think of what I'm doing here, for example?
A delicate question. I do find it difficult to rationalize your mission to rescue the children. If you wish to save children in need, there are hundreds of millions of others equally in need.
Thanks for the support.
However, we must still uncover the full extent of Desperado's activities. And as such, it is meaningless to debate best practices without sufficient information.
All right then. No more questions, Your Honor.